James Keith grew up near Orange in New South Wales and has been playing music for most of his life. He recently released his debut single, Life is Good Today, and there is an album of the same name due in 2023. We're going to talk about the single and some other things. Hi, James.
Hey, Sophie. Thank you very much for having me on.
Great to chat to you. And I'm going to start at the beginning because I read that you first picked up a guitar at the age of 8. And I'm wondering was that because you wanted to, or did your parents make you have lessons? Like a lot of kids' parents did.
Yeah, true. No, so Dad played the guitar when he was obviously a bit younger, and music was just a big thing in our family. So yeah, he put the guitar in my hand, and I'm really grateful that I stuck at it.
Yeah, right. And you have 4 brothers, so I'm wondering if they also picked up a guitar or other instruments.
Yeah, they did. So either keyboard or guitar, one of those two. So. But it was only me and my brother Robbie who actually stuck at it. But I mean, we grew up obviously 5 boys on a vineyard in Orange, so we had plenty of time to listen to music, and that's kind of how it all started.
So I'm trying to imagine what it was like if 5 of you were learning instruments. It's a good thing that you were on a farm, I guess, because the sound could just go out.
We had lots of time outside, put it that way. Yeah. So we had 40 acres just north of Orange, and I'm pretty sure Mum and Dad bought that place strategically because we made a lot of noise. It was either that or rugby league, so one of the two.
Yeah, right. So when you were a kid playing guitar or not, what music did you enjoy listening to?
Yes, I grew up just because I love the guitar. I love Cat Stevens. He was one of my first real loves of music. Yeah. And then being a guitarist, I love Mark Knopfler from the Dire Straits and obviously the Beatles and that kind of. Just because Dad had the old CDs, and then came this amazing era of 80s and 90s like rock, Australian rock. So I loved Dale Braithwaite back in the day. That Rise album. I mean, in excess of one of my all-time favorite bands, and then later on The Living End, which is Chris Chaney's is just an amazing, phenomenal guitar player, and they're kind of who I wanted to be as kids, I suppose. So that was kind of. Early kind of influence, but then that kind of rock inspired, sort of came in the early 90s.
Cat Stevens is an interesting artist for a kid to listen to. I actually used to listen to Cat Stevens as a kid as well. And I think there was something about his voice that was quite soothing, but lyrically quite sophisticated for a child to be listening to.
Yeah, well, so this is a funny story with my kind of music, I suppose. I just love playing the guitar. That was just what I loved doing. I could tell you my favorite songs and I could tell you every word in the songs, but I couldn't tell you what the song's about because I never put the lyrics together. I was just always listening to the guitar, the guitar riff or the bass line or the drum beat. So that's kind of where I was really entwined with what music wise. And it wasn't until I started listening to country music in 2011, which is honestly where I started to actually understand and think about what words meant in a song.
Okay. So I'll come back to the country music in 2011, but just in terms of you working out all those guitar parts, so at what stage did you have your own guitar? Because your dad had a guitar. At what stage did you actually have your own instrument that you could start to, that was, I suppose, size appropriate for a kid, or maybe you were just on a bigger guitar the whole time?
Oh, I was on Dad's guitar to start with, but so I did a year of lessons and I learned how to read music.
Right.
But and the teacher at the time we were doing Eisteddfods and stuff like that. So that wasn't generally, learning songs with lyrics. It was more like notes and stuff like that, which I didn't really enjoy too much. And then obviously came across Tommy Emmanuel as well, another Australian phenomenal guitarist, and he listens, and he can just pick it up that way. So I spent 6 months with another teacher who kind of taught me that side of, and that's where my guitar really went off. And now, I can really sit down and understand and play off the back of that rather than reading music and scales and stuff like that now. So that's where the guitar, I was 8 years old. I did a year of lessons and then a half year of some more lessons. And then that was pretty much it. And then, as I said, found Cat Stevens and found these other amazing, beautiful guitarists. And that's kind of where the love really grew from there.
Yeah, I've asked other musicians about the reading music versus the ear, because I learned to read music as a kid playing piano and cannot play by ear to save myself.
Yeah, wow.
And other artists I've spoken to who learned to read music have a similar thing. Like they can't necessarily play by ear. It's interesting that you consciously chose actually to be taught to play by ear, because I wonder if you hadn't done that, if you kept reading music, maybe you wouldn't have been able to play by either way you can.
Yeah, it's funny. Like it's just kind of how the way it worked out. But I suppose at that time I wanted to learn more songs rather than individual notes and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So
right.
it definitely helped me with writing an album and understanding piano and stuff like that. The reading music, but I don't. I literally listen to a song now. I can pick it up just by listening to it now. So I suppose maybe both ways have helped me in this album a little bit, but definitely really enjoy. I sort of really gravitated towards that just ear side of it. I mean, you've got to learn obviously a bit of theory, but it's more kind of maybe feeling the music a bit more rather than just looking at individual notes. So yeah, they're both beautiful ways to learn music. So, but yeah, I don't know. I wanted to jump and I used to jump around my room pretending I was a rock star, and I still do it. It's not
Well,
a lie. So I suppose I wanted, that was kind of, I couldn't do single notes, and I wanted to jump around and be a rock star.
well, I am insanely jealous that you can play songs by ear like that. But so you grew up with four brothers, and at a certain point you were all learning instruments. Did you look around and think, this could be a band?
Well, look, we fought too much to be Hanson or any of those other ones. So no, it was just, in saying that too, like obviously rugby league's in our DNA. So that was, I never, even though I loved it and would jump around and just live for music, you want to follow your father's footsteps. And also, I'm not being, I'm like humble in the sense that, he was a famous footy player and so was our family. So that's all you want to do when you're a young kid. And we grew up in that kind of Bulldogs era as well. Yeah, so I obviously loved the music side when I was young, but you really want to follow your father's footsteps. So he played footy in Sydney and one of five boys. We all kind of wanted to follow our father's footsteps and uncle's footsteps. So that was always our number one goal as kids. But I was just lucky enough that I just loved music and loved the guitar and could do do that in the background as well.
Yeah. So I should say that your family is very well known in rugby league. It is the Mortimer family. And you didn't, however, play for the team with which they are most associated. You went to Manly. How could you have defected like that?
I know. Well, I'll tell you what, it was funny. My dad used to be our coach when we were younger, and you see a lot of times sons of coaches are always given the golden ticket of that. And Dad, for our last day, would never do that. He was the hardest coach we'd ever had. So we had offers to go down to Bulldogs when we were younger, but he would never send us down until he thought we were ready. So that kind of taught us some good lessons, life lessons as well. And so yeah, anyway, at the time, I was playing some good footy out in the country, and then Crusher Clear, who's Noel Clear, who was a talent scout for Manly at the time, came out and brought me and my younger brother Tim and a couple other Orange boys down, and we ended up staying, and here I am still now.
Yeah, right. Crusher. Now there is a great nickname, isn't there?
Well, I know it is a good nickname. He's a terrific bloke. He's a bushy as well. So yeah, he would come out and find country boys because he just loved what we were about. So he brought us down here and still had an offer to go to Bulldogs, but I just love the lifestyle of Manly.
Yeah. Fair enough too. But I'm interested in whether the discipline of learning a musical instrument, particularly the way you applied yourself to learning guitar, helped you as a sportsman.
I think they both help each other. Yeah, absolutely. You have to really, I suppose, like I learned this from a young age, watching Dad build a vineyard literally from nothing, and we were kids and we built that. So that was a good lesson that if you really want anything, you've got to work hard for it. Nothing comes easy. And the amount of times I've sat in my bedroom and played the guitar and, really, as I said, like listen to those songs and just, we also built a vineyard when we were kids. So we had so much time to listen to music. It was just, you got to put a lot of time in there. They say the 10,000 hours, and it's true. And obviously that works with rugby league too, or any sport for that matter. It's just, anything in life for that matter. You just got to, as long as you work hard and you're persistent and, and you want it bad enough, things will come your way, whether you reach the top or not. That doesn't matter. As long as you're doing something that you love doing, it definitely goes hand in hand, playing an instrument and playing sport. Yeah.
Now, listening to you talking about building that vineyard, I'm wondering if your parents actually had 5 children so you could build the vineyard for them.
That's a conspiracy theory, and I think you did right.
Like,
We had 5 boys, but there's 5 under in 9 years, and he bought a vineyard. Well, sorry, he bought a paddock out in Oregon.
right.
And literally said, what am I going to do with my boys? So we built a vineyard, and he knew nothing about it as well. So
Oh, it's so funny.
literally, we were like, we were between the ages of 4 and 11, 12. So so we literally built everything by hand. We were young kids, and to see it, thriving now is a really, really good accomplishment. And as I said, it's just a really good life lesson being kids, to see your parents really work. I mean, we had nothing. Like, there was no money in rugby league back in the day, in the 80s. So we literally, everything we have, we've worked for. And it's just I suppose it goes in hand with writing an album and playing rugby league and doing all these things. You've got to, you've got to work hard for things.
Yeah, and people who may not be old enough to remember beyond the current era of rugby league, it wasn't professional. There were players who were garbos and real estate agents and teachers at the same time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, in the 80s and early 90s, it used to say try by whoever, also a bricklayer. So obviously, it's just good lessons we learned, kind of growing up in that kind of tough environment, I suppose, tough love, but. Everything I've ever got in my life, I've worked hard for it. It was a good lesson for us as kids, probably without knowing it at the time.
Yeah, it does sound like you were the Von Trapp children, but with hammers and nails and spades, not with songs.
And a big police belt.
Yeah, right. Oh my God. So you're in the gulag. Now, while you were playing footy at Manly, did you still have time for music?
I did, yeah. So So I actually started a couple of little bands in Sydney with a couple of players. Right. We were on the footy show a couple of times on some talent award things or whatever, and we would play it, the Narrabeen Sands and the Collaroy. So we'd play it a few times around and started a bit of a wedding thing. So I was always playing, and I suppose the good thing about the guitar is, you can take it anywhere. It's such a manual instrument. It's such a social instrument too. So even on bus trips, footy bus trips, I'd take the guitar and just everyone would love to sing along, and it's just a good social to get everyone together. So, and I suppose that's kind of helped now with my music. I mean, back then I was playing in front of people I didn't really know. I've just come down from the country, and it was just bringing everybody together, and so it's probably helping me out at the time, and I didn't even know it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you were hoping you didn't get tackled and have your shoulder dislocated, so it would stop you playing guitar.
Well, that actually happened to me. And then I've had a shoulder reconstruction. I've had a wrist reconstruction.
Oh no!
I got elbowed in the throat about 8 years ago, and completely lost my voice for eight days, but that's kind of given me this rusty kind of voice, I suppose, and. I mean, and again, rather than dwell on it and think, oh, well, that's it, it's all over. You just write things in your range, and I'm still doing vocal coaching now, and so it's all I mean, you've only got one life. You got to have a crack.
Absolutely. So while you were in these bands, while also having a professional job as a footy player, were you writing songs at that stage, or
no? So literally, this album is the first 13 songs I've ever written.
Right.
So I mean, like, we loved doing cover. Like, we would, I suppose, in a sense, we were doing cover versions of songs that we loved and making it our own way. So that was, I suppose, being creative in a sense. But no, we were just doing covers basically, and doing weddings, and then I teamed up with my brother while I was still playing footy. My brother Robbie, and we've been doing weddings for 10 years. And I suppose the interesting thing about this album is I actually wrote the album for my brother to sing it.
Right.
And he didn't want to do country. So I was like, I had 5 like cracking songs, and they're kind of upbeat, kind of rock country rock songs, and he didn't want to do it. So I was like, well, okay, I either go throw them out or do it myself. And I'm really kind of blessed that kind of happened, because now I'm doing something that I love doing. I've written all these songs myself. I've played the instruments and helped produce. So it's pretty much me in an album, and I'm really proud of it, actually.
Well, and you say, yeah, you mentioned your brother didn't want to play country, which is, of course, outrageous, but it does give me an opportunity to talk to you now about going to Nashville in 2011, which seems to have been your conversion to country music.
It really honestly was, yeah. As I said, like grew up with that kind of rock inspired kind of, I love the 90s rock, but I honestly went to Nashville in 2011, and I don't know if you can go to Nashville and not become a country music fan.
Right.
And ironically, it was in a bar called Tootsie's, which is in my first film clip. Tootsie's is a big sign behind it. But yeah, so there was a song out at the time. I honestly had no idea about country music. And there was just this line. It was like, "Life is good today." And I just remember it. I remember every bar we went, every cover band was playing it. It turned out being the song Toes by Zac Brown Band. And it just came out at the time. So that's why everyone was playing it. And I came back to Australia. I didn't know what the song was, and I was just like, I've got to find out. It was almost like it was calling me.
Yeah.
And then came back and someone said, "Oh, that's a Zac Brown Band song called Toes." And anyway, so I listened to that song and just like, my God, I'm on the beach, having a beer and rolling a fat one, and I'm just like, yes, like it was just it's just relatable. So then obviously fell in love with Zac Brown Band, and then honestly, that was the day that I started listening to lyrics in songs and actually understanding what lyrics meant. Because as I said before, muso, you kind of go to the music side of things, whereas most people who don't know music, they listen to the lyrics, and that's what they relate with straight away. So, I mean, you join those two together and you get country music, I suppose. And that's what I love. That's what I love about country music. And I haven't listened to anything since.
Yeah. So when you were starting to write songs, because you obviously had all that experience as a guitarist and as a performer, were you thinking, I'm going to write songs that suit me as a guitarist, or were you writing songs that just came to you as ideas?
So I wrote this album because I want to express what music does to me, and what music just, I listen to about 1,000 songs every day. Like I love it. I get up in the morning, I play music, and it's the last thing I do. So the album is not like, and also to this is quite an important thing. I didn't write the album for fame or fortune or anything like that. I wrote, it's basically stories about my life, but high energy songs that I'm envisioning to play live and loud and live. So that's kind of where, these are all from the heart. I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'm a new artist. Nobody knows about me, which I think is quite cool. And I got this kind of fresh rock, kind of country rock sound, and yeah. So I literally I wrote the album, and I'll be honest too, I went through a bit of a tough period in my life a couple of years ago, and I had 2 paths to go down, and I wrote I've got my list of goals on the wall up here, and I'm just ticking them all off as we go, and writing an album and some songs was one of the top ones. So it's something I'm really proud of too. Obviously life is good today. It's a positive message, and all this whole album is good messages. And they're not depressive songs. They're kind of up and at 'em kind of songs, and that kind of goes with that kind of rock inspired theme as well. So yeah, I'm really proud of it. I can't wait to show everybody.
Yeah, well, and we have to wait for it though, because it won't be till next year. So Life is Good Today, did that become your mantra to live by?
It honestly did, yeah. As I said, like that line in Nashville, it was just like a light bulb went off. I can't describe anything but that. It was just, I had to come home and I was just hungry to find out what that was. And then from that moment, I mean, I've got a landscaping company. It's a big Life is Good Today on the back of of my truck. Like I think it's just such a positive message, and I'm all about positivity and spreading the love and enjoying, embracing what you've got, and yeah, Life is Good Today is kind of a celebration of that period in life where 2 years ago was pretty tough, but rather than feel sorry for myself, I looked at everything that was good around me, and that kind of brought me out of the hole, and so that's kind of what I want people to experience when they listen to the song and the album and go, you know what, he can do it, and there are lots of good things in my life. Like let's embrace that rather than focusing on all the negatives.
But to go from playing other people's songs, as you have been, to putting as you said, these are stories from your life. It's a big brave step actually, because it's one of the great things about country music is you don't have to be 18 to be a new artist. You can be any age and at any stage of your career. But has there been any hesitation for you in thinking, these are about to go out into the world and people are going to know a lot more about me than they do already?
Yeah, look, to be honest, not at all. No, I didn't write it for that. I'm just happy some people are liking the song,
Yeah.
so look, and I'm as honest as they come. Like and you got to be quite vulnerable too. And I suppose people like that. If you're honest and relatable and you have issues and it's not all hunky dory all the time, then people go, oh yeah, I like this bloke, or I'll give him a listen. So, and that's again what I love about country music. It's just they're so relatable, the songs. So as I said, I just sat down. I wrote 13 songs, and they all came quite easy because they're just really good stories. But I've thought about the album. I haven't just written 13 songs and go, right, that's it. Like they're all in an order which kind of suit each other. Like once you get it, you'll understand. But and this life is good today. I mean, you'll hear the drummer pick up sticks and do the 4 snares, and that's kind of like welcome to me. It's just like, okay, this is new, this is fresh, and the start of the show, and here we go. So yeah, look, I think you have to be a bit vulnerable to be honest and liked, and I think people really relate to that kind of side of music.
Yeah, and as you said, in country music, like the storytelling, that is a fundamental part of it, and it's what the audience expects and also what they enjoy. So this album is slated for release next year. Do you have a release date in mind, or are you just going to release a few singles and see what works out?
So I don't. So I was about to release it about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and then I met Natalie Waller from ABC Country, who's really helped me, and then she put me in touch with Jules, from Wild Heart, and then. So my whole strategy being a new artist was I wanted to do an album and then go bang, bang, bang single.
Right.
And they're like, no, we're in a digital world now. Like, hold your horses. And
right.
And I'm a very excited kind of bloke, and so I just can't wait to get it out there. But I'm taking my time and I'm doing singles, and then look, it'll probably be, I'd say, middle of next year.
Okay.
So I've got another song and film clip ready to go for about February. And then, in this industry, there's so much music out there now. There's so many talented people. So how do you get heard, and how do you get in the right people's ears? So I've taken the right advice from the 2 pretty important women in the industry, and I'm holding my horses for the time being.
Well, look, sounds like that's what you've been instructed to do. And you said that the songs are upbeat, designed to be played live and enjoyed. So can people catch you live in Sydney at any stage, or are you heading for Tamworth?
So I've got a lot of things in the pipeline. Nothing kind of just set in stone just yet. So and as I said, I wrote these songs because I love going to shows. I travel all around the world just to go to country music festivals. I just love it. So that's kind of what I want people to enjoy with my music. I want them to feel what I feel, performing. So that's why they're great songs live. They're really awesome. So look, I've got a few things in the pipeline. So, but as I said, nothing just set in stone. So if you follow my socials, James Keith Music, or my website, jameskeith.au, you'll be able to. I've got some stuff coming up soon, but nothing just yet.
Okay. Well, given that you built a vineyard when you were a kid, I'm guessing that maybe you could develop skills to make your own guitars one day. That's my tip.
It's so funny you say that. I actually want to make a guitar, because obviously Brian May from Queen, he made his guitar. Like, a lot of people do it. So that is definitely something I'm thinking about doing.
So there's something else to look forward to. It just occurred to me, I was like, if you've had those skills, then there are other things you can do. But I've had you talking for quite a while. I'm going to leave you to your Tuesday evening. It's a Tuesday when we're speaking, and it has been great to talk to you. Thanks, James.
I really enjoyed the time. Thank you very much, Sophie.